Okay, the recording has started. We're so excited for this evening. We're really, we know that this will be a compliant call. This is Dr. Nugent. And so this call has been recorded and eventually will be put up on Team Up to Zoom. And we'll get going. Hey, thanks for the reminder, Nancy. Let me mute this call. Let's see. All right, let me mute this call. All right. Dr. Ron, you're going to need to unmute yourself. Okay. And thanks for that reminder, Nancy. We want a good quality call, and hopefully anybody that gets on late will remember to mute themselves. If you're in a situation where you need to move around, we're going to ask for tonight only. You know we love seeing your videos. However, because we want a good quality call, we'd like you to like all of you so far look great. Either you've hidden your videos or you're sitting, you know, at a desk or something like that. So we're gonna have a nice call. So without any further ado, I see if there's anything else they wanted to talk about. Oh, before we start, Dr. Nugent, I want to congratulate the list of winners of the Costa Rica incentive has been announced, and I'm trying to see some of the people that have been there. I know Margie, yay, Margie, welcome. We're going. We've qualified for it. If you have qualified for Costa Rica, put your name in the chat and let us know that you've qualified, and I'll try to remember to congratulate everybody at the end of our call.
Well,
so
we
Ron,
have Stu, Dean, Paulette. They should be on the call also.
Let me just see. I'll take a quick look, see if Stu's on.
It doesn't.
Stu is on. Congratulations, Stu. Yay, Judy and Stu Dean have qualified for Costa Rica. And
thank you, Paulette.
Judy Quick, yay. If you are just getting on, please mute your phone, mute your video.
Paulette, can't you just remute the whole line?
I can. I'll try it again. There you go. All right, Ron, you just need to unmute. Okay, take it away. Ron, you're good.
All right, well, welcome to our call. This is Team Up to Zoom for those of you who are new to our call. And we have people that usually tune in all over North America, including Australia, and we never know where they're coming in from. And tonight, we have a special guest. He, generally speaking, doesn't need a big formal introduction because he's famous. He's famous in our organization. He's famous and literally worldwide. He's the most demanded speaker we have ever had in the history of Manatech. And he is extremely knowledgeable in the field of health and nutrition and supplementation. Dr. Nugent has more PhDs, I think, than I have fingers, but he is just an encyclopedia of expertise, and we know that he has tested over 6,000 products. He's designed and formulated probably dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of products on his own, and we are so blessed to have him. He is now our Chief Health and Nutrition Officer, which is a recent promotion to what they call the Chief Desk, which is just an incredible honor for him and anybody who gets into that little club, because it's not a very big club. And we are, again, so honored and so fortunate to have Dr. Nugent with us. And as soon as he unmutes his phone, we will turn it over to him so he can bring us up to date with how we can protect ourselves from some of these things that come along seasonally, and some of them that come possibly around every once in a while, and sometimes have a worldwide concern. So on that note, it is my pleasure to introduce our friend and Manatech's Chief and Health Information Officer, Dr. Steve Nugent. Steve, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Ron. It's so good to see all of your faces. So many of my very favorite people in Manatech. I'm looking at your faces right now on the Zoom call. That is so cool. And I see Carrie waving to me. So we're gonna have some very important information for you tonight. Certainly very timely information. And Ron had asked me, I think it was about a week ago, if I could do this call for you tonight. And we are at Manatech. We're all doing at least triple duty these days. I think I'm doing more than that. But serving all of the Manatech associates is what I'm here for. So we're going to do that this evening. So this is the season, as they say, and this is the time of year when everyone should be doing very sensible and intelligent things to ensure that their immune systems are healthy and strong and ready for the season. And we have a number of products, obviously, at Manatech, which do provide immune support. But what we're going to focus on this evening is what I call my immune system triad. So, I mean, we could talk about several different products, but I want to kind of stay focused on what I think is most important for several reasons here. First of all, the average person can't focus on more than three things to any great detail for any length of time. So I like threes for that reason as my maximum number of things to do. Secondly, I think it's very important that you stay focused on the things that are going to give you the biggest bang for the buck, as it were, in whatever application we're looking at. So this is why I've selected these three products for this evening. Now, the immune system triad, if you could just pop that up for a second, Paulette.
Sure will. Give me a sec.
Okay, just that title slide, if it'll pop up.
It will. Should. Okay. You want not the sensible advice. You want the triad, correct?
The triad title slide, yes.
Okay. There it is.
All right, so there we go. And oops, you've got the unimproved slides that are on there as well. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to do that title slide.
Right. Let me just see what I need to do here.
That's okay. We'll just take it down. We have to be very, very serious at Manatech. I know that everything I'm going to tell you this evening is obviously compliant, but we have a procedure where slides have to be approved through different departments and so on and signed off before we can show them. So we're not going to show those. Okay. So let's just take that down, Paulette. Just take down the whole thing. So we're talking about Immunostart, GI Pro Balance, and you see it says Ambritos Technologies. And the reason for saying that is to protect our trademarks in court, we have to use the right words, the right terminology. So since we have three products, which are Ambritos products, and we also have a number of products that have the Ambritos blend inside of them, we have to say Ambritos Technologies. Now, if we had only one Ambritos product, I wish that was the case, that we had just one that did everything for everyone all the time. But right now we say Ambritos Technologies. So I'm just going to start into this. And before I do, some of you may or may not be aware that the demand for certain products can be quite high at this time of the year. And in fact, I did a call for the Happy Team up in Vancouver. I did that for them last Saturday, not this last Saturday, but a week ago Saturday. And because they were thinking about their friends and family in China, and they wanted to know, what can I say, what can I do, what products, and so on. And I talked with them about Immunostart specifically, and I told them what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. And the very next day, every bottle of Immunostart in our entire warehouse disappeared. Every single bottle was gone. So I got on the phone to our CEO. He got on the phone to our Senior Vice President of Supply Chain, who called our manufacturer and said, we need this stuff immediately. And guess what? It arrived in our warehouse today. So we've got it in the warehouse today. So we'll talk about it this evening. You can place your orders then whenever you like. Although I do have a recommendation for you. Happy Team has also been made aware that this is back in the warehouse. So that's just a thought for you folks. So you're among the first to know it, but it's important that probably you take some action to do what you need to do. Okay, all right. Let's talk about the immune system triad. Now, what do we want to do to support our immune system? You don't want to stimulate your immune system. You don't want to suppress your immune system. You want to modulate your immune system. Now, what that means is that if your immune system is low, you modulate it up to normal. If it's too high, you modulate it down to normal. That's called immune modulation versus stimulation or suppression. Obviously, balance is wellness, and that's where you always want to be. So the best immunomodulatory substances that I have seen in my more than 40-year career are two things which are contained in our Ambrotose technologies. One of those is Manopole, and a very close second best, I mean very, very close second best, is what we have trademarked as AmbroGuard. AmbroGuard, and you're seeing that more and more on our labels as our labels are shifting, because that is our trademark. So older labels you won't see it, newer labels you will. And AmbroGuard is the premium form of arabinogalactan. There is one company that makes arabinogalactan. They make two forms, a standard form and a premium form. The premium form has undergone human double-blind placebo-controlled testing, and in fact the tests that it went through, interestingly enough, were to find out if it would modulate immune function for people who were using either flu vaccine or pneumonia vaccine. And the study showed that people who used that premium form of arabinogalactan actually had much better responses to either the flu vaccine for that particular year or the pneumonia vaccine. That shows us that what it was doing was trying to balance or modulate the immune system. So when you're talking about balancing your immune system, which is the ideal state of health, keep in mind that the vast majority of people who buy dietary supplements worldwide are over the age of 40. In fact, most are really over the age of 50. And the majority are female. The majority of females who have immune challenges, overwhelming majority, have what are called autoimmune challenges. That is to say, their immune system functions too high all the time. So what you want to give them is something that helps to balance the immune system. So if you're using Manopole and the AmbroGuard, and you're using this in our Ambrotose technologies, and I very strongly recommend either Complex or Ambrotose Life for these areas, you really have the ideal situation. Every once in a while, I'll get the questions, and somebody will say, well, I don't feel like I do quite as well on Life, and I don't know the differences as I did with the original Complex. I'm not going to get into a whole Ambrotose training this evening because there's a lot of little details, and we don't really have that kind of time tonight. So what I will say is this. When you use Ambrotose Complex, you can never, ever, ever, ever go wrong. So if you ever have a doubt, just use Complex. And that just simplifies everybody's life. Now, Ambrotose Life contains a couple of detoxification agents, and they can be very, very helpful to you when you want to get that body cleansed, because these detox agents actually can be useful with various synthetic chemicals as well as heavy metals. We have another detox product, of course, which is called True Pure. That's delicious. Everybody loves it. In fact, people probably want to drink too much of it because it tastes really good. And that also helps to cleanse your system. So if you say, well, I don't know if I do quite as well on Life as I do on Complex, that's okay. Use Complex and True Pure so that you'll have that all taken care of. Well, we're going to come back to Ambrotose in a little bit, but first I want to talk about the basics here. And the basics means we start with the gut. We start in your intestinal tract. Most scientists now agree that about 70% of your total immune function actually originates in your gastrointestinal tract. Now, this is extremely important. Now, that doesn't mean all of your immune system is in there. What I'm saying is that's where it originates. Very, very important to that is your what's called your microbiome. So think of that as like a big sort of shelter, and underneath this shelter is all of your important probiotics, and all of your probiotics and your prebiotics in there are working to keep that gastrointestinal tract or your microbiome, keeping it healthy so that you not only have proper digestive function and proper colon health, but that you're also contributing to supporting immune function literally throughout the entire body. So it's extremely important that we make sure that our microbiome, our big shelter there that we put all our probiotic underneath, that we have sufficient probiotic. So the first product that I made for Manitech was called GI Pro, which had 3 strains of pretty hardy probiotic bacteria in it. It also had prebiotics. So we were way ahead. We were years ahead of the rest of the industry when I made that product by combining a prebiotic, which is the food that a probiotic needs to stay healthy, and I combined them in the same product. Then we advanced to our product called GI Pro Balance, and we went up to 6 strains of healthy bacteria that are very strong, and we selected strains specifically which relate to the function of our AmbroGuard, because we have tested AmbroGuard in gastrointestinal study, and we know the prebiotic effect, and we know which of the probiotic bacteria actually work better with our Ambrotos technologies. So with this in mind, we have 6 in that. Now at Manifest, you want to make sure you're at Manifest. I'm going to be launching a whole new microbiome system for us. And this will complement Ambrotos, because Ambrotos is the foundation of everything. And of course, it's the foundation for your gastrointestinal health as well. So Ambrotos will be talked about, obviously, and the new microbiome system will be talked about, which will include a brand new upgraded GI Pro Balance that goes from 6 different strains of bacteria to 8 different strains, and we're going to go from 15 billion, that's 15 billion with a B, colony forming units or CFUs of probiotic bacterium, and we're going to go from there in the new product that'll be launched at Manifest. We're going to 50 billion with a B, 50 billion colony forming units. And of course the 8 strains rather than 6 strains. And again, we are selecting strains that work more effectively with Ambrotos technologies. Now that product, GI Pro Balance, by the way, has 4 patents on it. It is unique in the industry. There is not another probiotic product like GI Pro Balance anywhere in the entire industry. There just isn't one. So, and it's going to get better. Even better when we get to Manifest. And by the way, I also recommended that we took out maltodextrin, which is currently in the GI Pro Balance, and in the new one it will not be in there. And the reason I recommended that it be removed is not because it's harmful in any way, it is not, but because people perceive it to be. Then that causes objections for some people when they're trying to introduce our products to new people. And I want all of you to have as few objections as possible. I want your life to be as easy as possible. So there's nothing wrong with maltodextrin. There's a lot of misinformation about it. It contributes to the sweetness of GI Pro Balance, but it's not high glycemic, so it doesn't raise your blood sugar and so on and so on. But in the new one, it will be removed just for perception reasons and to make it easier on all of you representing the product. Now, in addition to that, GI Pro Balance, because it has a very healthy level of prebiotic are various types of glyconutrients, which are the food for probiotics. And we have folks having a conversation in the background. They should mute their phones. Okay.
I will go back and mute the whole call again, and that should help. You might have to, let me do this, can't talk and do this at the same time. Okay, I'm going to mute again.
Come back in, Steve.
And let me see if I can unmute you, Dr. Steve.
No, I'm okay. I'm unmuted.
Okay,
I'm
good. Excellent. Good. All right. Let's try this again. Okay, let's go again. Thank you, Ron.
You know, on a live call, this has to happen, or it wouldn't be a live call. Okay. Well, let's go back to GI Pro Balance for just a few moments.
Okay.
So GI Pro Balance, this patented product, this has various probiotic strains which are deliberately selected to survive stomach acid and specifically selected to interact with our Ambertose technologies. And it has a yogurt flavored powder. That's our flavoring on that particular product. So that's something that you should be taking every day. If you take one stick every day, that should be plenty. And the reason for that is, and I always get people who say, should I take two? Should I? And we, in some countries, they have people recommending as many as 12 a day. And I'm just astounded by that. Well, here's a little math for you. You don't have to do the math. I'll tell you the answer. So, because everybody hates math, right? All right, so if you put one, now you can't really put one because you couldn't isolate that, but if you could put one probiotic bacterium in your gut, it would multiply by itself. They're self-replicating, and that would become 72 million probiotic bacteria in the course of 24 hours. So start doing the math, okay? And so one stick a day is all you should need to do. That should work just fine. Now, I want to spend a fair amount of time on Immunostart. And I want to do this because Immunostart is a product which we are so blessed to have. It has multiple patents on it. It is a unique product in the industry. It is not just a colostrum product. We are so blessed that we have that product, and yet every time this time of the year rolls around, I find that most of our associates have no clue that the product exists. They have no clue that they should use it. They don't know what it does. It's very frustrating to me because this is a fabulous technology. And of course, Happy Team understands this now, which is why they bought so darn much of it all of a sudden. And I hope that all of you will make sure after this call that you each have your own bottle of Immunostart, that every household has Immunostart. And now I'm going to give you some of the particulars, features and benefits here of the product. Let's start with colostrum, because what makes this product different from all the other products in the world that are immune related certainly is the certified pure prime colostrum. Now understand that colostrum is not milk. I'm going to repeat that. Colostrum is not milk. Colostrum is made in the bloodstream, not in the mammary ducts, as milk is. It is then secreted from the mammary ducts, but it is not milk. It is pre-milk. Now you go on to competing websites and you will see all of them will say colostrum is first milk. Well, sorry folks, if they are selling you first milk, then what they are selling you is milk that has a little bit of colostrum in it. Whereas Manitech is selling you pure colostrum that doesn't have milk in it. All right, so just so you understand. So it's pre-milk. And colostrum is made by mammals, all mammals, because it is the single most important thing you can do for the immune system of that newborn. Colostrum in its pure form will be secreted for about the first 6 hours in a pure form, and then in smaller amounts every hour for 72 hours after birth, until finally what's coming from the mammary duct of all the mammals, so humans, cows, whatever, is going to be milk. All right. So we're talking about certified pure prime colostrum, not first milk. We're talking about the real deal. Now, why do we want to use it? Why has it been used throughout history as such an important item for supporting the human immune system? And I'm sure that it was done long before there was any written history, because it is so important. It's because it contains something called immunoglobulins. Now, I know that's kind of big, confusing scientific term. Your immune system is divided into a series of immunoglobulins. Now, that's like immunoglobulin A and G and M and so on. Each of them has a different job to do in your immune system. They all do something different. The most important one to the human immune system is immunoglobulin G. What our biggest competitor selling colostrum or so-called colostrum, what they talk about is immunoglobulin A, which is nice. That's interesting. It's good.
Yeah.
But immunoglobulin G is as good as it gets. And pure colostrum contains immunoglobulin G. It also helps your body to make more immunoglobulin G. Immunoglobulin G is used by your body for both bacterial challenges and viral challenges. So not just one, but both. It is found in about 80% of your entire immune system. It is the single most important of all of the immunoglobulins. And if you are challenged or you're concerned about a challenge, my first advice to you is take care of your IgG. Another reason why I like this product so much, because it does that. Now, immunoglobulin G, by the way, is so safe, because people always say, no matter what I'm talking about, I always have somebody in the audience who says, is it safe? As though I would recommend something that's not safe. And I always think to myself, I never say it out loud, but I always think, oh, give me a break. Like I'm going to recommend something unsafe. But anyway, so it's so safe that IgG is the only antibody in your body which can pass through the placenta of a pregnant woman. What does that tell you? It's not only safe, even that brand new life inside needs to have IgG. That's really, really important stuff. Now, you may have heard, or perhaps you may not have heard, but if you've heard about the global shortage of something called lactoferrin, folks, it's a global shortage. This phenomenon has never occurred before in recorded history. So the science goes out to some baby food companies in Greater China. And as all of you know, China has 1.4 billion residents. Well, the word goes out that lactoferrin is found in milk, and it's also found in colostrum. And lactoferrin contains this stuff called IgG, which is the most important thing that you can give if you want to support the immune system. Well, these Chinese baby food companies, they hear it, and what do? They buy every gram of lactoferrin on planet Earth, and they've got the buying power to do it. So they buy everything. Now, for years, Immunostart had both our certified pure colostrum and lactoferrin, which we added to it as an extra benefit. Suddenly, nobody could buy lactoferrin anywhere. And the Chinese baby food companies actually have contracted with most of the major dairy farms in the world to make sure that they get first dibs on lactoferrin. Wow. So here you have this great, super important, wonderful thing, which is so safe and so important for supporting so many aspects of the human body. And in fact, you could call it the first line of defense if you want. And suddenly nobody can get it. But guess what? Pure colostrum is very high in lactoferrin. And we're not going to let those Chinese baby food companies have our colostrum. They're going to have to find their own. So we have a certified pure prime colostrum, which is very high in lactoferrin. And that means it gives you great support for IgG. And that's as good as it gets, my friends. Whether you want immune support, it doesn't matter which side of the coin that you're after, that you want to support your immune system, this can really help. Something else we know about IgG. The most important of all of your white cells in your immune system are called neutrophils. And we know that IgG promotes the production of these neutrophils when the body is challenged. So whichever the challenge is, I hope all of you folks are starting to get this now, how important Immunostart is. It's not, oh, it's just a colostrum product, or I'll just take more Ambertose. Folks, Ambertose supports the immune system, but there isn't anything that supports your immune system like Immunostart. It also contains something called beta-1316 glucan. Now, you don't have to remember that, of course. There are all kinds of beta-glucans on the market. This particular one has been scientifically tested and proven to activate or start, this is why the product is called Immunostart, to start your immune function in your mouth before you even swallow the material from the tablet. And don't swallow the tablets whole. Every once in a while, I'll find somebody who struggles to swallow a whole tablet. They say, wow, that's a tough one to swallow. Well, you're not supposed to. It says on the bottle to chew it thoroughly. Personally, I like to keep it in my mouth for a long time and kind of suck on it as a lozenge, because that beta-1316 it's really working on the immune receptors right in my mouth as I'm swallowing little bits of the material over time, which is, I think, a really great way to do it. Now, all of that is sort of bonded together in a modified citrus pectin. You've heard me talk about modified citrus pectin, or MCP, when I've talked about another one of our important products, and of course, Manna Bears, which are just coming back again, which are made in a base of modified citrus pectin. Modified citrus pectin actually is glycans. So what it is, it's a very, very long chain of glycans that are found inside of the fibrous strands that you would see if you were going to unpeel an orange or a lime or a lemon or something. The reason it's called modified is because you can't digest the fiber, you as a human. So what we do to get that long strain glycan, or glyconutrient as it's called commercially, out of the fiber is we modify it by opening up the fibers and releasing the glycans. So that's why it's called modified citrus pectin. So you even have more benefits of this polysaccharide for your health. Obviously a very natural source, so that's a really good thing. So that by itself, you have benefits. Now, I'm always asked questions. There are FAQs on everything, really. And one of the things I'm asked about is people who have concerns about dairy. Now, I try and make it very clear, as I hope I made it very clear in this presentation this evening, that colostrum is not dairy. Okay. Now, there are companies that are selling what they call first milk. So that's milk, it's dairy, and it has some colostrum in it. We, on the other hand, are selling pure colostrum, which is pre-milk. It's not first milk, it's pre-milk, so it's not milk. Still, there are people that they have concerns, so I want to address a couple of those FAQs. There are people who have lactose intolerance or lactose sensitivity who have not gone to an allergy specialist to find out if they are actually allergic to milk. They assume, because they have a reaction to lactose, that they are allergic to it. So let me explain this for you. The allergen in milk, if you're going to be allergic to milk, is a protein called casein. There's no casein in this product. All right, so that's the first and most important question. But what if you're lactose intolerant? What does that mean? It means that you make too little lactase. That's an enzyme, lactase. It's very simple in biochemistry. If the word ends in ASE, that means it's an enzyme. If a word ends in OSE, that means it's a sugar. Okay? So lactose is a sugar found in milk. Lactase is an enzyme which has one purpose in life, and that is to break down and digest lactose. Okay? That's the way it works. So, people who are lactose intolerant, they're not allergic to anything. What's happening is they are not making enough of the enzyme called lactase to break down the lactose, and as a result, they may have gastrointestinal distress, they may have cramping, they may have diarrhea, any number of things like that, bloating, and although bloating can come from any number of things. So then I want you to know, because people will say, well, is there any lactose in the product? Yes, there is a trace amount. So get ready for this number, 0.0148 grams per tablet. Now, I wish I had that on a graphic for you, but I'm just going to say it again, 0.0148 grams. That doesn't sound like a lot, is it? Because it's not a lot. Well, the World Health Organization, that we all look to around the world to be the authorities here as far as human health goes, they say that in order for a lactose intolerant person to have a lactose reaction, they have to swallow 12 grams, at least 12 grams of lactose. So the amount in here is 0.0148 of a gram. All right, so there is a little bit in, yes. Are you going to have some lactose intolerant symptoms? I cannot imagine that you possibly could, although as a scientist I have to keep an open mind and say, well, I suppose there could be an outlier somewhere, somebody who could actually be that sensitive, but I haven't met that person yet, so I don't know. And you have directions on the bottle on how to take it. Now on the bottle it says to chew tablet thoroughly. When this tablet was first produced, the label said that the product was a lozenge and you could suck on it, and you should suck on it until the material has disappeared, almost like a candy, and it's got a pretty pleasant flavor to it. And so there was somebody in the industry who started making outrageous health claims about a lozenge product that they made. The FDA overreacted, our legal department got worried, and so we took lozenge off the label, and the label now says chew tablet thoroughly. So I personally suck on mine. You can do whatever you choose. I'm supposed to tell you to follow the label directions, and that is to chew tablet thoroughly. Okay? Either way, you'll still get some activation right away in your mouth from the beta-1316 glucans that I talked about a little while ago. Let's go back to Ambertose just for a couple of minutes. And we have obviously 3 Ambertose technologies. And of the 3 Ambertose technologies, our original, our basic, which is Ambertose Complex, that is the foundational formula for Ambertose Life. It's also the foundational formula for advanced Ambertose. In the very near future, advanced Ambertose is a product which will be sunset, and that's a term that we use in the industry to talk about a product which is going to be just slowly fading away out of inventory, all right? And then we'll be down to 2 Ambertose products, again, the basic complex and the Ambertose Life. Ambertose Life and Ambertose Complex in most respects are identical. There are a couple of differences people ask me about all the time, so I'll give you those right now. As I said, the base formula is exactly the same. The plant materials used as sources for the glycans are exactly the same. Starting in probably September, and that is a guess based on current sales. I can't guarantee you it will be September, but probably in that range. Ambertose complex will be improved over what it is today. And that improvement is a decision that I made with the product I don't know, 3 weeks ago, where we were getting ready to reorder our minimum order quantity from the manufacturer for our warehouse of Ambertose complex. And before we placed the order, I told the launch team, because we actually have a team that deals with product launches and all that sort of thing. And I told them, I said, call the manufacturer and tell them that we want to remove the shellfish source glucosamine and replace it with the same plant source glucosamine that we use in Ambertose Life. And so you will still have glucosamine. Then the glucosamine molecules, we checked this out 6 ways to Sunday, as they say, in the laboratory, and the glucosamine molecule is precisely exactly the same, because there was never shellfish in Ambertose complex. There still isn't, but the glucosamine is extracted at this time from the connective tissue in the shell of a shrimp. If you can imagine holding a shrimp shell in your hands and moving it, sort of back and forth, right? You would see that there is a very light bit which connects the hard shells together, each section of hard shell together. That's where glucosamine is extracted from, because that's what glucosamine is for in your body, for your connective tissue. That's where it goes when you swallow this stuff, okay? So because we have 3 religions in the world that follow the book from the ancient Hebrew text, the book of Leviticus, that talks about what foods you should eat and what foods you should not eat, and I'm not a clergyman, okay? So if I say this wrong, please don't email me, all right? I'm just trying to. I got enough emails, trust me, all right? So as I recall, it's in the Christian Bible. I'm not sure which the verse is in the earliest text, which obviously is the Hebrew text. But I'm pretty sure that it says something like this: it is an abomination unto God to consume a food or to eat a food which comes from the sea and does not have fins and scales. Now, if I didn't say that precisely correct, don't email me, please. Okay. But the idea here is shrimp don't have fins and scales, so you can't eat them if you're part of 3 different religions. So the Hebrew religion, the Muslim religion, and Seventh-day Adventists. They also, Seventh-day Adventists observe most of the rules of the Hebrew religion. So now all of those religions are going to be able to use Ambertose complex without any problem, because the next new batch that comes through, and from that point forward, will have plant source glucosamine. Also, and I hope this excites you as much as it excites me, but we're also going to be able to say that the original Ambertose complex, as of that changeover, will be vegetarian and vegan friendly and kosher. I already put our regulatory people to work on this. I said I want this product kosher certified before we launch it out again. So I think that that's great news for everybody from my perspective. I know it seems like a minor change, but and of course some people, as soon as I said we're going to change this, then I had a bunch of the staff say, but what about Sam? He promised that we would never change it. And my response was, Sam's been gone for years. I'm in charge. We're going to change it. And that's it. And if anybody doesn't like it, they can just talk to me about it. So that's kind of the way we're doing things now. So I think that's a great change for us. Now, also, as we look at the differences between the products, because as I say, I'm constantly asked about this. The other, well, we got a lot of pretty loud noise going on in the background again. and they never know it when they're doing it, obviously, so it's never on purpose. But
for some reason, Steve, I can't do it. I'm catching them, but the system isn't letting me mute. So there's a Judy. Could you mute yourself? I don't know which Judy it is. And give me a second here. There's somebody else that I was not able to mute. And we really want this to be, Myrna, could you mute yourself, please? Thank you. For some reason, the system doesn't allow me to mute you guys. Okay, Steve, back to you.
Okay. All right. As I say, if it has to happen on a live call, that's what makes it live. Okay. So as you look at the two Ambertose formulas, because I'm not going to talk about advanced, that will be sunset just a few months from now. In fact, the reason it went back ordered because we made the decision to sunset the product, and then we had a whole bunch of associates who just went nuts and said, "No, I've got to have it." So we ordered one last batch, and when that's gone, it's gone, and that's the end of it. Okay. So the difference between the two products then, both Complex and Life have 200 milligrams of Manipol per serving. Advanced has only 95 milligrams of Manipol per serving. Another reason why we're going to sunset it. The other differences, one is the glucosamine, which will be solved in the next batch that starts in September, where essentially there are only going to be two differences left between those two Ambertoses. The detox factors, which include sodium alginate and a very specific, highly scientifically tested form of modified citrus pectin. So modified citrus pectin attracts chemicals in your body, and sodium alginate has a reverse polarity charge from heavy metals like lead and cadmium and aluminum and that kind of thing. So it can help to remove that. So that's certainly an advantage in Ambertose Life. The other difference in Ambertose Life from Complex is that Ambertose Life contains a small amount of wakame. You see the word wakame on the label. That provides you with fucoidins, or a type of fucose. Now understand there's fucose in both formulas. There's fucose in Complex. But the fucose from Complex is from a plant on the land, and the fucose in Life is from a seaweed called wakame. So there's a little bit different function in the two, but those are the differences between the two. So when you're using either Complex or Life, you are getting the same amount of Manipol and the same amount of Ambrogard and the same cellular communication benefits and the same immune benefits in both products. But you have some detox benefit in Ambertose Life, which you don't have those detox agents in Ambertose Complex. And then advanced Ambertose, of course, as I mentioned, it does have it has only 95 milligrams of Manipol. It does have the full amount of Ambrogard. And of course, it has wakame. So those are kinds of the differences. So for immune support, foundationally speaking, Ambertose technologies. Because Ambertose facilitates cellular communication, and that's what tells the body what nutrient to send to what cell and when and how much. It's that communication that also tells your immune system what kind of immune cells to make, how many to make, when to stop making them, when to start making them. That's all about communication. So Ambertose is your foundation for any kind of immune consideration. GI Probalance, that is going to be important because the beginning of immune function is in your intestines. That has to do with your microbiome, and the most important part of your microbiome is the balance of the important and proper probiotics versus things that are bad for your body, which are also going to be in your intestines. So various types of fungi and different and bad bacteria and so on, and protozoa and that sort of thing. And then, of course, our only immune-specific product, a product that I think everybody right now should be using every single day, especially at this time. And I would recommend it for your friends. It's a gift, folks. It's a gift of health. So everybody should have it. And the rest of the year, when it's not the season, you should still have a bottle in your house because sniffles happen, okay? Especially if you have children or grandchildren, sniffles happen. Now, if you wouldn't mind, this is sort of the synopsis of the products. If you wouldn't mind, Paulette, could you put up that slide, the sensible advice slide, please?
Sure, hang on just a second. I'll share my screen. I do have it ready. Let me just get out of this one and open this one. All righty. Okay. That good, Steve?
Yeah, just do the second slide. Just click on the second slide there. Okay.
There you go.
Now, this is from the American Centers for Disease Control. And I want to make this clear for everyone on the call. All of you know that we have very strict compliance regulations. All of you know that you cannot connect our products to a disease. And I'm going to speak to you not about our products, but about the current health challenges that are in the news, okay? Because everybody's asking you about it. Do not make any claims about any of our products other than what is listed on the label or printed on our website or printed on our handout material. Those claims are all approved. Now, in regard to the current health issue that everybody's talking about globally, the CDC tells us that they are still not sure exactly how it's transmitted. They think they know, but they don't know for sure. In fact, they tell us that we are very early in this and there's a lot that they simply do not know yet. What I'm very happy to say, happy to report, is that the American Centers for Disease Control and sensible doctors and sensible healthcare officials around this country and in Canada are doing a fabulous job at identifying and containing the problem. I'm so impressed with how this is working. The incubation period on this new novel, and I don't want you, any of you, I don't want you to connect a product to a specific disease or virus or anything. I'm doing this as health advice for you, all right? Sensible health advice. So this new novel seventh form of the coronavirus, we don't know a lot about it yet. And Centers for Disease Control has given the information that you see on your screen right now. And that information is the best they can tell us because they simply don't know a lot about this. The incubation period is 14 days. During that 14 days, you are symptom-free. In other words, you can be exposed today and you are a carrier, and it'll be 14 days before you start to have any symptoms. That makes this particularly difficult for health authorities to identify and contain, obviously. So with this in mind, CDC has given the advice that you're looking at on the screen right now. They want you to wash your hands frequently. As you can see, they want you to use hand sanitizer. And folks, washing your hands means washing your hands. I mean, wash the darn things. Do it thoroughly. Don't fool around, okay? Avoid touching your eyes, your nose, your mouth with unwashed hands, as people do frequently. Well, avoid it. Get out of that habit. Avoid any close contact with people who are sick. Now, it's possible that someone might just have just an ordinary case of the sniffles, but the symptoms start with this thing with ordinary kinds of cold symptoms, okay? So do be sensible, my friends. Please be sensible. If somebody has the sniffles, don't have contact with them. You know, why don't you adopt the Japanese method of bowing rather than handshaking and hugging for the time being? If you're sick, stay home. I mean it. If you go into the streets of China right now, and I go to China frequently, but if you go to the streets of China right now, it looks like one of those science fiction movies where the world has ended and there's like one or two people left on the planet and they're walking through the streets and there are no human beings anywhere to be found. That's what the streets of major Chinese cities look like right now because the Chinese government is telling people to stay in their homes. And they want this because they don't want people having contact with each other that could potentially spread the virus. Again, there's a lot of things we don't know yet about this virus. If you have a cough or a sneeze, not only be sensible, be thoughtful to the people around you, for gosh sakes. And cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue, then throw that darn thing away, right away, and then go wash your hands, all right? Clean and disinfect frequently objects which are touched or surfaces that are touched frequently throughout your household, okay, or throughout your place of business or wherever you're having a lot of contact. But the one I want to say to you again is, if you're sick, please stay home. One of the great things about being a network marketer is that you can run your entire world from your home. How about that? You don't even have to drive to work. What a benefit that is. So, and I say that as a guy who has to drive to work. So that's a great benefit for you. So just do that. So that is, that's the advice tonight from the Centers for Disease Control and from me. And make sure that you stay compliant. So do not say anything other than the benefits which are already written and approved. That's very, very important. But please do every human being a favor that you meet, and including and especially yourselves and your family, because I care about all of you and I want to see you on the next call, okay? So make sure that you are getting your Immunostart and your Ambertose and your GI Pro Balance, and get the Immunostart before it goes missing from the warehouse again, okay? So that's my recommendation to all of you. Thanks for having me on the call tonight. Ron and Paulette, thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What we will do is we will have this up on the Facebook page first, and then I might even throw in the brochure or flyer on the Immunostart. Believe it or not, I need to go find it. Isn't this a great wake-up call?
Yep.
One of the things that we plan on doing with all of you guys is to remind you those hidden gems that we have in our warehouse. We talked a lot about that this past weekend. We have so many fabulous products, and I know sometimes it's a matter of budgeting, but if you think about the support that our product line offers, it's phenomenal. So we're going to remind you on a monthly basis about some of these products. This is timely. When we asked Dr. Steve to be on tonight, we had no clue where the world would be when we asked him to speak tonight. So what a blessing that is to all of us. So next week, we're going to be talking about this recent event that we had. We had a leadership conference in Dallas, and the company was absolutely amazing. It was organized by the S&P, which is your associate committee, who are outstanding, led by Mary Jo Hilliker. And so we're going to do a recap for you next week of certain things we can't share with you, but we will share quite a bit of it. Valerie's at a bottle of Immunostart. Okay, Valerie's holding up a bottle of Immunostart. And so we thank you again, Dr. Steve. Thank you. We've had a fabulous, fabulous attendance tonight. And we're so glad that you're able to join us. Please come back again. We have a lot to offer. Ron, did you want to add something?
Yes, I do. Again, Dr. Nugent, thank you so much for that. I do want to say a couple of things. One, the emphasis on getting some Immunostart. I don't know if any of you noticed, but the founder of the Happy Team, Julia Zhu, blessed us with her attendance on our call, and so were several of her team members. So guess what that means? They know Immunostart's back in the warehouse. So therefore, you might want to act quickly. And I also want to not only thank Steve, but I want to ask all of you to be considerate. Steve gets upwards of 1,000 emails a day. He's already working about 20 hours a day. He's not getting any sleep to speak of because he's totally dedicated to all of us. And here's what I'm going to suggest. For those of you who have questions, email them to your upline presidential. Now, I know some of you we're not, you're not part of either Wendy's group, Amanda's group, or Paul and I's group, but you have one of our emails for sure. Get us the email, get us the question, we'll accumulate them, and we'll send Dr. Nugent one email that he can get to with some important questions. But I also want you to remember this. Instead of emailing Dr. Nugent, start with your upline. Maybe get off your butt and look at a video. Look at the FAQs. The FAQs have so many great answers because I know Steve gets a ton of questions that are answered in the videos. They're answered in the FAQs. So let's do him a favor, please, and let's respect his time, and that would be greatly appreciated. And
Thank
again,
you so much for that, Ron.
you're welcome.
And also, don't forget, for those of you who are new, want to join us on a more regular basis, we have a Facebook site. It's called Team Up to Zoom. It's not a site, it's a page. It's called Team Up to Zoom Group. Please join there, and we will post things. You could post your questions there. You go to Team Up to Zoom Group on Facebook, and you're able to post questions, whatever. That's where you'll find all of our recordings and videos, that kind of thing. And eventually you'll get to teamuptozoom.com, which is our website where you can share stories, whatever. And there's quite a bit of few tools there. So that's it for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been spectacular. I hope you all took tons of notes. And again, the call will be available for you and within the next few days. Okay, everybody, good night. Thank you for joining us, and please come back and join us next week.
Good night, folks. Be safe,
you.
stay well.
Be safe,
Excellent call,
everybody.
guys.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Caroline.
And go wash your hands.
This week, everyone.
All right, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Yay, Chiefs.